Today is Thursday, June the 4th. Volume, what we've come to expect, low. NASDAQ hit an all-time high today, and this has to be a very high for volume that we haven't seen in a long time. The S&P 500 had average volume, mixture of red and green. The tech stocks were red, and yet NASDAQ made its high. It retreated from its all-time high, pulling these stocks into the red. And otherwise, it was just a wavy kind of a day with advancers slightly behind decliners by 1%. And the importance for that is that it takes our McClellan oscillator down. Yesterday we established that there were two trends going. The series of higher lows we had just lower highs, which we had just broken, and the series of higher lows, which we just created. And now we've come back down almost to test this trend line and move back. Now, why would it be that an indicator like the McClellan oscillator, which is based on two moving averages of 7% and 10%, I believe, why would that be something that the markets would look at? Perhaps it's because the market has figured out what the McClellan oscillator is going to be with a certain advance to declining ratio. And as soon as it hits that value, the algorithms, the traders are prompted to do something different, such as move the advancers to decliners higher or lower. I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of stock trending based on movements in the McClellan oscillator, I actually believe. Now, some of the other things that we want to look at here are the volume. Here's our volume today. Again, a higher volume day, and the second high, let's say tied for the second highest volume day for the last 4 weeks, surpassed only by last Friday and Thursday and Friday the last week of April. So this is a good sign. Volume is picking up. Volume for advancers and decliners. Look at this. Even though decliners led advancers by a slight amount, decliners led advancers, the volume in advancers was far higher than the volume in the decliners. That's a positive signal, and our summation index continues to drive to nosebleed levels. If it hits 4,000, and right now we are at, let me see, here's our spreadsheet. Right now we are at a physical number of 3241. So if we can get up to 4,000, we're not going to have experienced these kind of summation indexes. It's just not a regular thing. So keep an eye on all of that. Now let's look at the charts. Let's start with the Dow Jones, which yesterday surpassed its 200 EMA and stopped at the 200 SMA, and it did exactly the same thing today. No change, pulled back, came back and stopped dead on the 200 SMA. So this is a mental barrier here that the market wants to break in order to go higher. The volatility index is telling us that there's no fear in the market. The S&P had a day that didn't quite close the gap, but it came darn close to closing the gap. If this had had a wick on it, we could have called it closed, but I guess we can't. Let's wait and see. Likely, if we do close it, we're going to close two gaps at the same time. Apple had a good day of down not a good day, down 265. The cup and handle pattern did not break out. Caterpillar up $1.87, now clearly above the 200 EMA and the 200 SMA. Good stock, moving too fast for my liking, but I like it. Home Depot continues to pull back after it gave up its dividend. That was on the 3rd, was the first ex-dividend day. Now we've come back and we've tagged this 100% line. Still a very strong stock. Whirlpool stopped by its 200 SMA. Gold miners not seeing anything. I bet you the GLD is exactly the same as this. AT&T 32 cents. US Bank up over $40. This is a stock that not long ago was trading, down at $29. Look at that rebound, and this is a daily chart. It's heading towards 42.31. So let's take a look at all banks. Bank of America 3.5, Goldman Sachs 2, JP Morgan 2.5, US Bancorp again exceeding all the other banks 3.6. Citigroup is also pushing quite stronger, 4.74%. So all of this bodes pretty well for the market. The Fed is pumping an enormous amount of liquidity into the market. That's benefiting the banks. It should be just positive news ahead.